Imagine a twist of fate that unravels long-buried secrets, where a single encounter at a grave sparks a journey of redemption and lost love. If you're drawn to stories that pierce the heart and stir the soul, hit that subscribe button now and join us on this unforgettable adventure. On a chilly autumn afternoon, under a sky streaked with bruised hues of twilight, billionaire CEO Adrian Knight made his solitary pilgrimage to his father's resting place. The cemetery, quiet and laden with memories, stretched before him like a mosaic of untold stories. Today marked the 4th anniversary of his father's death, a day that had, every year, summoned the ghost of unresolved pain. Adrian's heart pounded with a tumult of regret and longing as he stepped carefully along the gravel path, his polished shoes crunching on the brittle leaves. The grandeur of his business empire felt miles away from this sacred ground, yet the weight of legacy and the duty of remembrance pressed upon him as forcefully as the autumn wind. At the edge of a time-worn row of headstones, he paused before a modest stone bearing his father's name, a monument that had seen both love and despair. Adrian slowly knelt and laid a bouquet of vibrant chrysanthemums on the cold marble, each flower a silent tribute to a man he once revered but later resented for secrets left unspoken. His eyes, dark with memories, scanned the cemetery with a distant intensity. It was then that he noticed something unusual, a small figure, barely visible in the fading light. A young boy was kneeling near another tombstone, his posture reverent, his eyes brimming with a mixture of sorrow and hope. The boy's soft whispers, almost like a murmur of apology, drifted through the still air. Adrian's curiosity and an inexplicable stirring of paternal instinct compelled him to approach. As he neared, the boy's attention shifted to him, and in a trembling voice, he uttered a word that sent a chill down Adrian's spine: "Grandpa's." The term hung in the air like a fragile secret, its meaning laden with implications that blurred the boundaries of past and present. Adrian's mind raced, wrestling with disbelief and the dawning realization that this visit, meant for solitary mourning, was about to shatter the calm he had so carefully constructed over the years. In that moment, beneath the vast, melancholy sky and amid the silent testimonies of stone, Adrian felt his carefully built walls start to crumble. The unexpected presence of the child, with eyes full of questions and an aura of unspoken truths, forced him to confront the ghosts he had long avoided. The cemetery, already a realm of quiet despair, suddenly transformed into a threshold between what was and what might still be. His pulse quickened, not merely from the shock of the revelation, but from the profound stirring of a long-dormant hope. There, between the graves and amidst the rustling whispers of memory, a single encounter had begun a journey that would unravel decades of buried secrets, reshaping the very core of his existence. As twilight deepened into a velvety night, Adrian lingered in contemplation. The boy's simple yet cryptic declaration resonated with him, a signal that his past, fraught with pain and missteps, was interwoven with a future he could neither foresee nor ignore. In that solemn moment, the loneliness of the visit gave way to the promise of transformation, and the night seemed to whisper of redemption and reconciliation yet to come. Adrian stood frozen in disbelief, his mind struggling to process the implications of the boy's unexpected words. The cemetery, with its muted colors and quiet dignity, now felt like the backdrop to an unfolding drama of the heart. Approaching the child with cautious steps, Adrian's deep voice broke the silence. "Son, I believe you're at the wrong grave." His tone, both gentle and tinged with an urgency born of years of internal conflict, reached the boy's ears. But rather than yielding to confusion, the child's eyes sparkled with an unwavering determination. "I was told by my mother that this is the place to find him," the boy insisted, his voice small yet resolute. Adrian's heart clenched. In that moment, he remembered whispers of a love long lost, a woman whose name had once been the very center of his universe, Sophia Bennett. The realization crept in slowly, an almost imperceptible shift at first, until it crashed over him like a tidal wave. The boy, with an uncanny resemblance to himself, could not be a mere wanderer in this graveyard of forgotten souls. His presence was no accident. It was a collision of fate and past misdeeds. Tentatively, Adrian asked, What is your name? The boy's reply, delivered with a maturity that belied his tender age, was steady. I'm Liam. Every syllable carried a weight of destiny. Adrian's thoughts swirled as he recalled the years he had distanced himself from Sophia, the woman he had once cherished beyond measure. Their separation had been painful, a self-imposed exile from a past filled with promise and passion. And now, here was evidence of a bond that had endured despite his absence. The memory of her smile, the way her eyes had lit up with hope in better times, stirred something deep within him. The cemetery, a place meant for farewell, had unexpectedly become the crucible where his past and present converged. Liam's words, simple yet profound, were a lifeline thrown across decades of regret. Adrian's voice trembled as he spoke again. Liam, your mother, Sophia, she meant so much to me once. I never imagined. His sentence trailed off, overwhelmed by the recognition of a lost future and a son he never knew he had. In that charged moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. The soft rustle of wind through the leaves and the distant sound of a nightingale became the only witnesses to the rebirth of a connection thought irreparably broken. Adrian's mind raced with questions. How could fate allow such a reunion? What of the secrets that had kept him from knowing his own flesh and blood? The cemetery, bathed in the gentle glow of twilight, transformed into an arena of new beginnings. Liam's small hand reached out hesitantly, bridging the gap between two lives that had once been intertwined but then sundered by time and circumstance. With a courage that belied his age, the boy's eyes met Adrian's, silently conveying a plea for understanding and acceptance. In that moment, Adrian recognized that the past, however painful, held the key to the future he so desperately needed. And as the first stars began to twinkle overhead, the promise of reconciliation began to shimmer in the quiet night. Reeling from the shattering revelation, Adrian Knight felt the fragile ground beneath him tremble with a mix of shock and sorrow. The realization that Sophia Bennett had once loved him, enough to share him with the world, sent him spiraling into a realm of regret and introspection. With Liam sitting quietly beside him on a worn stone bench, Adrian's thoughts raced back through years of silence and deliberate distancing, wondering how he could have been so blind to the life that had quietly blossomed without him. The cool night air wrapped around them as they walked slowly away from the cemetery, each step echoing the weight of secrets long buried. Liam's small hand, warm and trusting, grasped Adrian's in a silent testament to the connection they now shared. Adrian's mind was a whirlwind of memories, fleeting moments of passion with Sophia, whispered promises of forever, and the painful decision that drove him away from her. The guilt of abandoning a future filled with promise gnawed at him relentlessly. Liam, Adrian began softly, his voice tinged with remorse and confusion. Why didn't your mother ever tell you, or me, about this? The boy's eyes, wide and searching, hesitated before replying in a quiet voice filled with a mix of hurt and resignation. She said you didn't want us, that I was born out of a mistake. The words pierced Adrian like shards of glass, each syllable a harsh reminder of his own failures. How could he have been so oblivious to the silent struggles and the pain inflicted by his absence? As they ambled through the night, the city lights in the distance twinkled like distant memories of better times. Adrian's thoughts swirled with questions. Had Sophia truly believed he was incapable of being a father? Or had circumstances been manipulated to keep him from the child he never knew he needed so desperately? The complexity of the past weighed heavily on him, and with every step, the burden of regret and the need for redemption grew ever more urgent. Determined to uncover the truth, Adrian resolved to piece together the fragmented narrative of his former life, a narrative that had been rewritten without him. He recalled vague recollections of secret meetings, hushed phone calls, and letters that had never reached him. Each fragment was a clue, a silent accusation of the forces that had conspired to keep him apart from the family he once envisioned. Liam's innocent eyes, filled with the unspoken desire for belonging, met Adrian's in a moment of poignant understanding. The child's presence was not merely a chance encounter, but a summons to face the past, a past that was fraught with lies, betrayal, and the relentless passage of time. With the city's neon glow painting the pavement in a kaleidoscope of colors, Adrian promised himself that he would not let the opportunity slip away. He would unravel the mysteries that had estranged him from Sophia and, more importantly, from Liam. In that shared silence, heavy with the echoes of history and the promise of future reconciliation, Adrian made a silent vow. He would confront the shadows of his past, seek the truth, and in doing so, reclaim the fatherhood that fate had so cruelly denied him. With Liam's small hand still clasped in his, he stepped forward into the night, resolute in his mission to heal the wounds of old betrayals and build a future that could honor both his past and the precious life that now depended on him. The following day, Adrian arrived at a modest apartment block on the quieter side of town, a place that whispered of ordinary lives far removed from his own opulent world. The building's faded brick facade and narrow hallways were in stark contrast to the gleaming skyscrapers and luxurious boardrooms that had defined his existence. Inside, he found Sophia Bennett, now a woman hardened by life's bitter betrayals, preparing a simple meal in a cramped kitchen filled with memories of better times. The air was thick with tension, and as soon as Sophia laid eyes on Adrian, her expression shifted from guarded curiosity to cold defensiveness. "I didn't expect to see you here," she said, her tone clipped and distant. The atmosphere in the small living room was fraught with unsaid words and painful recollections. Adrian's heart ached at the sight of the woman who had once been the light of his life, now worn and battle-scarred by years of loneliness and sacrifice. The presence of Liam, who sat silently at a worn dining table, only deepened the gulf between past and present. Sophia's eyes, though filled with a quiet sorrow, burned with a quiet defiance. "I had my reasons," she replied, her voice low, almost as if she were guarding precious secrets. Adrian, struggling to contain the surge of emotions that threatened to overwhelm him, spoke in a tone laden with both remorse and longing. "Sophia, I never intended to hurt you. I never imagined that my leaving would cause such pain." His words, earnest yet tinged with regret, hung in the air between them. For several long minutes, the silence was punctuated only by the distant hum of the city and the unspoken admissions of years gone by. Adrian's eyes wandered to Liam, who looked at him with a mix of curiosity and caution, an unspoken question hanging in the air. Why had his mother never shared the truth of his father's identity? The questions, heavy with the weight of betrayal and lost opportunities, pressed down on them both. Sophia's defiant facade wavered for a brief moment as she recalled the bittersweet memories of their once shared dreams and plans. "I did what I thought was best," she murmured, the defiance in her voice softening into a resigned sorrow. "I believed that keeping you away would protect us, from more heartache, from more lies." Her eyes, glistening with unshed tears, revealed the immense sacrifice she had made, even as she clung to her own wounded pride. Adrian stepped closer, the gulf of years and misunderstandings narrowing with each careful word. "I want to understand, Sophia. I want to know what happened that made you feel I was not the father you needed. I want to mend what has been broken," he pleaded, his voice earnest and full of a determination to right the wrongs of the past. The room seemed to hold its breath, as if the very walls recognized the monumental significance of this confrontation. The tension, thick and almost tangible, slowly began to dissipate as both realized that the past, with all its scars and missteps, might yet yield to forgiveness. Yet, the path forward was fraught with uncertainty and lingering wounds. Sophia's gaze, filled with both regret and reluctant hope, met his. "It's too late now," she whispered, though her voice betrayed a flicker of vulnerability. In that fragile moment, the two former lovers, once inseparable, found themselves standing at the crossroads of despair and redemption, with Liam silently watching as the bridge between their shattered past and an uncertain future began to take shape. Determined to uncover the tangled web of lies that had kept him from the truth, Adrian immersed himself in the dark recesses of his family's history. His mind was set ablaze by the question, how could the truth of his father's betrayal be so carefully hidden? With an unwavering resolve, he arranged to meet Douglas, the lawyer who had managed his late father's affairs, a man whose loyalty, it was rumored, had been tainted by secrets and hidden agendas. In the sterile light of a cramped office adorned with dust-laden files and aging portraits of a bygone era, Adrian confronted Douglas. The atmosphere was heavy with anticipation as the lawyer's hands trembled slightly while rifling through an assortment of faded documents. Douglas, a man who had once carried himself with impeccable dignity, now appeared shadowed by guilt and regret. Adrian's voice, firm yet edged with bitterness, demanded, "Tell me everything about the letters, the communications between my father and Sophia. I need to know why I was kept in the dark." Douglas hesitated, his eyes darting nervously as he realized that Adrian was not just a wealthy CO, but a man desperate for the truth. After a prolonged silence, he divulged that years ago, a series of letters, carefully written by Sophia and meant to bridge the distance between two shattered hearts, had mysteriously vanished. "Your father took measures to intercept these letters," Douglas confessed in a hushed tone, his voice laden with remorse. "He believed that severing your connection with Sophia was necessary to preserve the family's reputation and secure the legacy you would one day inherit." The revelation struck Adrian like a bolt of lightning. His mind raced with images of clandestine meetings, secret correspondences, and the deliberate manipulation of fate. Each detail painted a picture of a man who, in his relentless pursuit of legacy and control, had sacrificed the very essence of family for the sake of reputation. The discovery of these forged deceptions left Adrian reeling, his soul aching with the burden of guilt for a past that was no longer his to deny. As the conversation unfolded, Douglas produced a series of documents that corroborated his grim admission. With trembling hands, Adrian scanned each page, the weight of every word pulling him deeper into a vortex of regret and longing. The betrayal of his father, once a man he had admired, had left an indelible scar on his conscience. The truth was painful, yet it was the only key to mending the fractured bonds of the past. In that cramped office, amidst the faded echoes of lost time, Adrian made a solemn vow. He would confront Sophia with these damning truths, not to reawaken old wounds, but to forge a path toward reconciliation and healing. The realization that his father's machinations had not only separated him from Sophia, but also robbed him of a chance at fatherhood ignited in Adrian an unyielding determination to reclaim the future he had long been denied. With a heavy heart and a newfound resolve, he left the office that day, the documents clutched tightly in his hand, a tangible promise that he would right the wrongs of the past, no matter the cost. Armed with the damning evidence of his father's betrayal, Adrian returned to Sophia's modest apartment with a trembling mix of hope and apprehension. The faded walls and humble furnishings of the small home bore silent testimony to the sacrifices made over years of hardship, and now they were to witness another confrontation, this time one charged with raw truth and the possibility of reconciliation. When Sophia opened the door, her eyes, once brimming with guarded suspicion, now reflected cautious curiosity. "Sophia," Adrian began, voice quavering as he unfolded the documents on the worn coffee table, "I've discovered something that I believe explains everything." His hands shook slightly, the weight of the truth pressing upon him as heavily as the secrets it contained. He recounted the revelations Douglas had reluctantly shared, the intercepted letters, the deliberate manipulations of his father, and the painful decision to keep him away from the only love of his life. Each word was laden with regret and sorrow, echoing through the quiet space as if exorcising long-forgotten demons. Sophia listened in silence, her expression softening with each revelation. For years, she had carried the burden of betrayal and heartbreak, convinced that the silence was the only shield against further pain. Now, as Adrian spoke with an earnest vulnerability that transcended the years of separation, the walls around her heart began to crumble. "I always believed that your absence was a choice," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "That you didn't care enough to be a father." The accusation, long hidden behind stoic resilience, surfaced with a bitter edge. Adrian's eyes filled with tears of remorse. "I never wanted it to be that way," he pleaded. "I was misled, manipulated, and now I'm here, trying to fix everything." The room seemed to hold its breath as the two former lovers confronted the truth together. The evidence laid bare on the table was undeniable, a testament to a past corrupted by pride and fear. Yet, in that moment, it also held the potential to be the catalyst for healing, a fragile bridge built on shared pain and the desperate hope for redemption. The conversation unfolded slowly, each word measured and tentative. Sophia's stoicism, so long a barrier between her and the vulnerability of the past, began to yield under the pressure of Adrian's sincere regret and the stark reality of the betrayal. "I want to believe that there's a chance for us, for Liam," Adrian murmured, glancing over at the young boy whose presence had already begun to weave new threads of hope into their lives. "I want to be the father you never had, and the man you both deserve." Sophia's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, a mixture of pain and a fragile willingness to trust again. "I'm scared, Adrian," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I've been hurt so many times before. How do I know this isn't just another lie?" Her question hung in the air, heavy with the scars of years past. Adrian reached out and took her hand gently, his touch a silent promise of truth and commitment. "I will prove it," he vowed, his words echoing with determination and remorse. "I will spend every day showing you that I can be the man I should have been all along." In that small, dimly lit apartment, the seeds of understanding were sown, a tentative, fragile beginning to a journey of healing. Though the wounds were deep and the scars fresh, there was now the glimmer of hope that love, even when battered by time and betrayal, could one day be reborn. In the weeks that followed, Adrian dedicated himself to building a life with Liam, a life that would mend the fissures of the past and forge new bonds of trust and belonging. Their journey began in the simplest of ways: shared afternoons in the park, quiet evenings assembling jigsaw puzzles, and moments of unexpected laughter that broke through the long-held sorrow. Adrian found himself marveling at the ease with which Liam began to open up, his shy smile gradually evolving into an expression of cautious optimism. It was in these small, unassuming moments that Adrian discovered the true meaning of fatherhood, a role that went far beyond wealth or status. One Saturday afternoon, under a bright sky dotted with soft, drifting clouds, Adrian and Liam set out to build a Lego castle in the backyard. The child's concentration was intense as he meticulously connected tiny bricks, his tongue peeking out in quiet determination. Adrian watched him, realizing that each small creation was a step toward reclaiming a family that had once been lost. The castle, an emblem of both fragility and strength, became a metaphor for their budding relationship, intricate, requiring patience, and built brick by brick with care and persistence. As they worked side by side, Adrian gently shared stories of his own childhood, tales of misadventures, and simple joys that had long been buried under layers of corporate battles and boardroom intrigues. Liam's eyes lit up with wonder at these glimpses into a past that he had never known, and with every laugh and shared secret, the distance between them diminished. The quiet moments of vulnerability and connection were a stark contrast to the turbulent emotions of their earlier encounters. Instead, they embraced the simplicity of the present, a space where the pain of the past could slowly be replaced by hope for the future. Throughout these days, even as Sophia remained cautious in her interactions, there were signs that the family was beginning to mend. Liam's tentative steps toward trusting Adrian were small victories, celebrated in moments of shared laughter and the simple joy of learning together. Adrian's presence, once marked by the cold detachment of a corporate titan, was gradually replaced by the warmth of genuine care. He made promises silently with every shared smile, that he would not abandon this newfound family, that he would be there every step of the way. One particular evening, as the sun dipped low, casting a golden glow over the modest living room, Liam proudly presented a handmade card to Adrian. The card, adorned with crayon drawings of smiling suns and happy houses, was a tangible symbol of the bond they were forging. Adrian's eyes welled up with tears of gratitude and hope as he embraced the boy, silently vowing never to let go again. In these small beginnings, amidst the everyday rituals of family life, Adrian found a purpose that transcended the confines of wealth and power. The simple act of building Lego castles, of reading bedtime stories, and sharing quiet meals, transformed his world. It was in these moments that he rediscovered the essence of who he was meant to be: a loving father, a partner willing to mend the broken pieces of the past. And so, with every day that passed, the fragile seeds of trust sprouted into a hopeful promise of redemption, illuminating a path toward a future where laughter, love, and forgiveness could flourish once more. As the season turned from the crisp embrace of autumn to the gentle warmth of early winter, Adrian began to create new memories with Liam that were brimming with joy and wonder. Determined to reclaim the lost time and heal the wounds of the past, he planned an unforgettable day at the City Museum, a place where history and imagination danced in vibrant harmony. The museum, with its grand halls and fascinating exhibits, soon transformed into a canvas on which Adrian and Liam painted moments of pure, unfiltered happiness. The morning of the trip was bright and clear, the chill in the air softened by the promise of adventure. Adrian and Liam, bundled in cozy scarves and thick jackets, stepped into the museum as if entering a realm where curiosity reigned supreme. Liam's eyes widened with amazement at the towering dinosaur skeletons and intricate artifacts, each display igniting his youthful imagination. With every step, his questions became the soundtrack of the day, a cascade of wonder that filled the spaces between ancient relics and modern marvels. Adrian, walking close beside him, found himself rediscovering the world through Liam's inquisitive gaze. As they moved from one exhibit to another, he explained the mysteries of the past in gentle, animated tones. The museum was not merely a repository of history, but a stage where the father and son could build bridges across time. In quiet corners, where ancient artifacts whispered secrets of civilizations long gone, the two shared private moments of reflection. Liam's laughter, bright and spontaneous, echoed in the vast halls, a sound that was both healing and hopeful. Over lunch in a quaint museum cafe, Adrian listened intently as Liam recounted every detail: the gigantic bones, the shimmering display cases, and the interactive exhibits that brought history to life. In those moments, the pain of years past melted away, replaced by the simple delight of shared discovery. Adrian's heart swelled with a bittersweet joy as he realized how much he had missed these small wonders. The museum visit was more than a day out. It was an act of reclamation, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of love. Later that day, as the museum's closing time drew near, Adrian found a quiet corner in the gift shop where he knelt down and whispered to Liam, "I promise, if I had known then what I know now, I would never have stayed away. Today, I'm here, and I'll always be here for you." Liam's small hand reached out to hold Adrian's, and in that simple, heartfelt gesture, the bond between them grew immeasurably stronger. As they stepped back into the soft winter light, the day's experiences shimmered like scattered jewels in their memories. The museum, with its silent corridors and timeless exhibits, had gifted them a day of profound connection, one that would serve as a cornerstone for a future filled with hope and renewal. In those moments of joy, Adrian realized that every smile, every shared laugh, was a step toward healing, a promise that the family they were building together could rise above the shadows of the past. In the midst of newfound joy and burgeoning hope, a dark cloud loomed over the fragile family. One crisp morning, as the chill of winter began to seep into the bones of the city, Adrian noticed subtle changes in Sophia's demeanor. The once resilient woman, whose quiet strength had been the backbone of their tenuous reconciliation, now appeared increasingly weary. Her forced smiles and strained laughter hinted at an inner battle that no one could see, a silent pain that threatened to unravel the delicate fabric of their mending lives. One day, while preparing dinner in their modest kitchen, Sophia suddenly collapsed, her body succumbing to a hidden illness that had been masked by years of stoic endurance. The shock of the moment sent ripples of alarm through the household. Adrian rushed her to the hospital, his heart pounding with fear and desperation. In the sterile corridors of the emergency room, doctors worked with a quiet urgency, and soon, the devastating truth emerged. Sophia was terminally ill, her body ravaged by a disease that offered only months of life. The news struck Adrian with the force of a tidal wave, threatening to sweep away the fragile bonds they had spent months rebuilding. As he sat by Sophia's bedside in the hushed hospital room, the reality of impending loss sank in like a heavy shroud. Sophia, pale yet resolute, mustered a weak smile and whispered, "I always wanted more time for us." Her voice, though soft, carried a lifetime of unspoken regrets and tender hopes. The room, filled with the beeping of machines and the quiet hum of distant voices, became a sanctuary for their shared grief. Adrian's heart shattered anew as he realized the magnitude of the journey ahead, a journey not just of healing, but of saying goodbye to the woman who had borne the weight of their collective past. His eyes, red-rimmed with sorrow, traced every line of Sophia's face, each mark a testament to the battles she had fought silently. In that sterile environment, surrounded by the cold reality of mortality, he silently vowed that no matter how short her time might be, he would ensure that every remaining moment was filled with love, compassion, and the unyielding promise of a future where their shared memories could blossom into hope. In the days that followed, as Sophia's condition fluctuated and the family braced itself for the inevitable loss, Adrian found himself torn between the pain of impending farewell and the urgent need to make amends. The hidden pain had surfaced like a specter from the past, a painful reminder that even amidst newfound joy, the wounds of life could never be completely sealed. With every visit to the hospital, every tearful conversation with Sophia, Adrian's resolve to rebuild their family grew stronger. He understood that true healing would come not from denying the pain, but from facing it head-on, with courage and compassion. And so, even as the world outside continued its relentless pace, in that quiet hospital room, a promise was forged. A promise to cherish every moment, to honor Sophia's life, and to forge a path forward for Liam, a path illuminated by love and tempered by the bittersweet taste of loss. As Sophia's condition worsened and the reality of her impending departure grew undeniable, one crisp morning, she summoned Adrian to her side in the hospital room. The pale light of dawn filtered through the window, casting long shadows over the space where time itself seemed to slow. With trembling hands and a voice that wavered between pain and determination, Sophia made a final request, a plea that would define the legacy of their fractured, yet resilient family. "Adrian," she began softly, her eyes locking onto his with a mixture of love and resignation, "I want you to promise me something. Promise that you will care for Liam, not with the cold detachment of a CEO or through the distant arrangements of boarding schools and nannies, but as his real father." Her words, fragile yet imbued with the strength of a lifetime of sacrifices, hung in the air as a solemn covenant. In that moment, the distance that had once separated them all seemed to vanish, replaced by the undeniable urgency of the time they had left. Adrian's heart clenched with both sorrow and determination as he reached out to hold her hand. "I promise," he said, his voice steady despite the torrent of emotions swirling within him. "I will be there for him every day, every moment, no matter what." The words carried the weight of a vow born out of regret and an unyielding desire for redemption. Sophia's gaze softened, and with a trembling smile, she produced a small, leather-bound notebook, a repository of memories, letters, and dreams that she had carefully compiled over the years. "This," she whispered, "is for Liam. It holds the essence of who I am, and I want him to know his mother's love long after I'm gone." The notebook, its pages delicate and filled with handwritten notes, became a tangible symbol of Sophia's legacy, a final gift to the son she had always cherished. Adrian promised to read its contents to Liam, to share with him the stories, hopes, and dreams that had once united them in love. The moment was both heart-wrenching and transformative. In that quiet hospital room, the final request was not just a mandate. It was an invitation to embrace the future with the same fierce love that had defined their past. As Sophia's eyes began to close, and the machines softly beeped in the background, Adrian sat by her side, the promise etched into his soul. The inevitability of loss was palpable, but within that sorrow lay the seed of a new beginning, a promise to honor Sophia's memory by nurturing the fragile bond between father and son. In that quiet, poignant exchange, the call for a legacy of love transcended the boundaries of life and death, paving the way for the journey that lay ahead. In the ensuing weeks, as Sophia's health continued to decline, the fragile family clung to one another with desperate tenderness. Adrian and Liam remained at her side, their days filled with quiet vigil and the bittersweet comfort of shared memories. The hospital room, once a sterile arena of despair, gradually transformed into a sanctuary of love and reconciliation. Sophia's condition forced them all to confront the painful reality of loss, yet it also brought forth moments of beauty and connection that defied the looming darkness. Each morning, as the first light crept through the window, Adrian would hold Sophia's hand and whisper words of love and gratitude, a silent promise that her memory would live on in every shared smile and every small act of kindness. Liam, too young to fully comprehend the magnitude of the impending farewell, sensed the change in the air. With an innocent determination, he would mimic Adrian's every gesture, learning slowly the art of resilience and the quiet strength required to let go. One day, while Adrian struggled to tie his own necktie, a simple yet symbolically loaded task, Liam insisted on trying it himself. His small fingers fumbled with the fabric, and as he managed a clumsy knot, a faint, proud smile spread across Sophia's face. That simple moment, a quiet act of learning and growing, encapsulated the bittersweet nature of their present, a fragile, hopeful defiance in the face of inevitable parting. In the days that followed, the inevitability of goodbye grew more pronounced. Yet even as the hospital room echoed with the silent hum of machines and whispered goodbyes, Adrian found solace in the knowledge that every moment shared was a testament to the unyielding power of love. He and Liam began to craft little rituals, reading Sophia's favorite stories aloud, listening to the old songs she loved, and poring over the notebook of memories she had left behind. With each shared page, each laugh through tears, they were weaving together the fabric of a future that would honor her legacy. Sophia's final days were spent in a quiet state of acceptance, her presence a gentle beacon of hope amid the sorrow. The family, united in grief and love, found that letting go did not mean forgetting. It meant embracing the pain as a part of their collective story. And as the day of farewell finally arrived, with soft murmurs of love and the tender clink of hospital bracelets, Adrian held Liam close, promising silently that he would nurture the bond they had forged, a bond that would carry them forward even as they mourned the loss of the woman who had given them so much. After the painful departure of Sophia, the world around Adrian and Liam felt irrevocably altered, a delicate blend of grief, hope, and the possibility of redemption. The days that followed were marked by quiet rituals of remembrance and the slow, deliberate process of rebuilding a life that had once been fragmented. In the modest apartment that had once echoed with the bittersweet memories of their shared past, Adrian found himself reading Sophia's notebook aloud to Liam. Each letter, each carefully penned recollection, was a window into a life filled with love, dreams, and sacrifices. The stories painted a portrait of Sophia that was as vibrant as it was tragic, a reminder that even in loss, beauty could persist. As weeks melted into months, the pain of separation gradually gave way to a tender hope. Adrian embraced his role as Liam's father with a fervor that surprised even himself. The once impersonal corridors of his corporate world receded into the background, replaced by the everyday miracles of shared breakfasts, homework sessions, and quiet walks in the park. Each day was an opportunity to honor Sophia's memory by nurturing the bond between father and son. With every shared smile and every tear of remembrance, Adrian and Liam forged a new beginning, a future that honored the past without being shackled by it. In time, the modest apartment transformed into a sanctuary of renewal. The walls, once muted by sorrow, began to display framed photographs of happier moments. A candid snapshot of Liam's first day at school, a tender picture of Sophia smiling in a long-forgotten memory, and a recent photo of Adrian and Liam building a Lego castle in the soft glow of twilight. Each image was a testament to the family's journey through heartache and healing. The quiet hope that had been planted in those small beginnings now blossomed into a determined promise of tomorrow. Adrian's transformation was profound. No longer was he the distant, cold CEO whose life had been defined solely by profit and power. Instead, he became a man defined by love, a father who cherished every laugh, every quiet conversation, and every painful yet beautiful memory of a woman who had given everything for the sake of their family. With Liam's gentle guidance and unwavering trust, Adrian began to see the world through new eyes. a perspective where hope and resilience coexisted, and where the legacy of the past could be reimagined into a future filled with possibility. Though the pain of Sophia's absence never fully vanished, it softened into a gentle ache, a reminder of a love that had shaped them and a beacon guiding them toward a life built on redemption and enduring affection. Together, Adrian and Liam embarked on this new chapter, forging ahead with a promise to honor the past while creating a future that Sophia would have been proud to see. In the years that followed, Adrian and Liam continued to build a life that transcended the shadows of a painful past. Their journey was a tapestry woven with moments of triumph, quiet resilience, and the tender memories of a woman whose love had forever altered their destiny. Adrian's transformation from a detached titan of industry to a compassionate father became an inspiring tale of redemption, a legacy that touched not only the lives of those closest to him, but also those who heard of his remarkable transformation. Every year, on the anniversary of Sophia's passing, father and son would return to the quiet cemetery where their story had begun. With a bouquet of lilies and a heart full of memories, they would pause before her resting place and share whispered promises of love and hope. The visit was not a farewell to the past, but a celebration of a life that had sown the seeds for a brighter tomorrow. Over time, the wounds of the past healed into gentle scars, a permanent reminder of the cost of love and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Adrian often recounted the journey that had brought them together, from the fateful encounter at a lonely grave to the day he embraced fatherhood with an open heart. His story became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the face of betrayal and loss, love could be rebuilt, brick by brick, through small beginnings and moments of unguarded joy. As Liam grew older, he carried forward the lessons of resilience, empathy, and the importance of truth. Inspired by the strength of his father and the memory of his mother, he forged his own path, a path defined not by the shadows of the past, but by the radiant promise of a future illuminated by love. And in every quiet moment, when the breeze whispered through the trees or the sun dipped below the horizon, Adrian could hear the echo of Sophia's gentle voice, a reminder that love endures, and that even in the darkest times, there is always a legacy of light. Thus, the tale of Adrian, Sophia, and Liam transformed into a timeless saga of loss and redemption, proving that the human heart, scarred yet resilient, can indeed find its way back to hope. Their journey, etched in memory and carried forward by every act of kindness, became a testament to the power of love, a force strong enough to heal even the deepest wounds and light the path to a new beginning. Thank you so much for watching this story until the very end. If it touched your heart or made you feel something deep inside, please give it a like. It really helps more people find these kinds of stories. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our future tales. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below and share how this story made you feel. Your support means the world to us,